What is grief? We all know that it's just a totally natural emotional response to any form of loss, such as loss of face, looks, loved ones, a partner to someone else, limbs, material things like cars, homes, teddy bear. The list is endless, but each experience of loss pierces our hearts in its own sadly destructive way. For instance, if you lost a limb in an accident, you would obviously not only suffer tremendous psychological and physical trauma and pain too, but also extreme grief. So what does grief actually do? Imagine, if you will, you were driving along one of the world's most dangerous roads, say on a narrow stretch of road only 5 feet wide high up on a mountainside in the Himalayas, when suddenly an avalanche causes rocks and boulders start to rain down on you. Do you sit there and wait for help, knowing full well that the rescue teams may not be able to get to you for weeks, as there's no way for them to get to you now, as all routes are now totally blocked, as the road is impassable? Now you may starve to death. B. Try to escape even though this might cause you to fall to your death. C. Light a fire and use clothing to create a mayday. Help me message on the car, or on the rocks. D. Get so desperately depressed that you lose the plot and jump to your death. Here, as your world has now been turned totally upside down, you are being forced by circumstance to think of a solution all by yourself. When you are least able to, your ability to think, evaluate, or plan has gone out the car window, so to speak. This is a contradictory situation, akin to cognitive dissonance, where your mind cries out for answers, yet you are too numb to cogitate. This is somewhat analogous to the grief process. You are in a state of what now? A sort of mental limbo where your normal clarity of thought has shut down completely. Your belief systems may even now antagonize. For instance, you may start to question your religion. If there is a God, why would he let this happen? You are looking for answers as you now become a bit of a doubting Thomas. Why me, Lord? Too much is possibly the worst thing at this time, but it may be nigh on impossible not to think constantly, perhaps even reproaching yourself. Don't fret, and note, the mind is like a highly sophisticated AI computer. I often say to the bereaved, in order to try to explain grief, we have to somewhat paradoxically initially examine love. Love, we all know, is the warm set of emotions we feel for a person, our pet, our home, even our car, and that we experience feelings of joy, euphoria, happiness, contentment when we are with or around them. In general, we love their presence, what they do for us, as it were, how they make us feel okay. Neurotransmitters in the brain are stimulated and activated, thus causing chemical and emotional changes in our body and brain. These neurotransmitters are 1. The love hormone oxytocin. 1. The feel-good hormone dopamine. 3. GABA. Neurotransmitter which controls the more stimulating neurotransmitters such as dopamine. It's used in neuropathy, but duloxetine is better. 1. Serotonin neurotransmitter. A natural anti-anxiety and antidepressant that helps sleep and regulates gut movements. 5. Endorphins are natural pain-killing and stress-reducing hormones. This explains why scientists have been able to prove that pet owners suffer a similar type of grief when their pets die as when humans pass. A total fact. So we can express our love for others in many ways, but I think the late great John Lennon and Sir Paul McCartney said it best with the immortal line. It's a love that lasts forever. It's a love that will never die. So now we've established what love actually is in emotional and psychological and medical terms. This begs the question: how does understanding love relate to grief? Well, When our loved ones pass on, we are hit by an emotional tsunami of overwhelming proportions that we can possibly drown, and if we can't grab onto a piece of metaphorical driftwood in order to keep our head above water, as it were, by drown. Obviously, I mean cause us to succumb to negative thoughts or emotions such as despair. Forgive me if I have insulted your intelligence, but I am just trying to clarify for all. So the driftwood is meant to symbolize a belief system of some kind, whether it be religion, Taylor Swift, sport, meditation, yoga, or anything that provides solace. To further clarify, to reiterate, grief is just our natural emotional response to loss, whether it is the loss of loved ones who have passed on. I include humans and pets. Here, as the neurotransmitters and chemistry in our beings experience similar feelings of grief in both cases, note. However traumatic the death of a loved one, many mourners eventually achieve closure, but not all, sadly. No, we know where their bodies are, if not their souls. Depends on whether you have a religious belief system or not, I guess. Loved ones who are held hostage, such as those currently held captive by ham-ass. Note that here we know our loved ones' whereabouts, but not their medical condition. For instance, some are dead, yet their loved ones still hope to be able to bring them home to honor them and seek closure. Other hostages are alive, if not in best health, yet their loved ones await their return with bated breath, so that they can be reunited, honored, and get their lives back. Note in particular that here their whereabouts may change, but we have a rough idea of their medical condition. Loved ones who have just gone missing, those who have just vanished into thin air. This is the very worst kind of grief. Whether it is our granny, cat, dog, partner, the effect of not knowing their whereabouts and simultaneously not knowing if they are alive or dead is truly enough to make their loved ones despair to the point of having a breakdown, self-harm, or even, God forbid, commit suicide. Note. Honestly, I still struggle somewhat, even though I counsel the grieving daily to adjust. So I try to comfort the grieving by reassuring them that there is nothing wrong with crying or being saddened by grief, as crying is good for the soul. It is an emotional purgative, I believe. Actually, I have dedicated myself to good causes since 2000, inspired by my hero, who is currently helping to save lives worldwide, as is her wont. A partner who is left for another. We miss their presence, love, persona, beauty, company, humor, warmth. Most people eventually move on, but some take a long time, or meet someone new and talk endlessly about their ex. Not me, hasten to add. For instance, have you ever lost out to the school bully on prom night, where they get to dance with the belle of the ball? It's kinda similar. Sports competitions, contests, bets, or academic failure. We often feel sad after losing a boxing match or failing an exam. Material things such as property, cars, and so on, totally true. For instance, moving house is very stressful, but watching your home being razed to the ground, well, I can just imagine how traumatic this is. Devastating. I really do empathize, as after my mom died, I lost a 2-bedroom flat in Westminster and my life's belongings, including thousands of pounds worth of tech, music, books, guitars. So we can express our love for others in many ways. Leonard Cohen once wrote, "You know my love goes with you as your love stays with me." So when our loved ones are alive, we share a two-way or bi-directional love, okay? When they pass, however, then, although our love goes with them, still only the memory of their love remains. That is, we still feel love for them, but the love is not bi-directional anymore. So what exactly happens then? Well, our subconscious sets out to fill the emotional void by reminding us of them, by making those grieving actually see or sense them in our dreams or in our thoughts or whilst awake. This is what I believe happens to the lovely great Courtney Cox when she sees the late comedy genius Matthew Perry. Does grief ever go away? Sadly, how can it? Think about it. Only those who are indifferent to the people around them, such as Ebenezer Scrooge, or those who actually love no one, such as Ham-Ass, or hate everyone, such as Pooh, Tin, never grieve. And to repeat, as this love for them is such that it's a love that lasts forever. It's a love that will never die, so nor can grief ever die, only dissipate. So it is an universal absolute that you only ever grieve for those you truly love, albeit sometimes through the law of thought transmission, as is the case with followers of the late award-winning American journalist Victoria Brownworth. In summary, the amount of love you have for the departed when they lived is the same as the amount of grief you will feel when they pass, unfortunately. How I wish I could find a way to help all find solace. Who knows? So if you love them with all your heart, then your grief will be extremely heavy, sadly. Grief can manifest in the same negative way as when your love for someone is rejected. God, I know how that feels. I wrote the book on it. For instance, just look at Kanye West. After his mom passed, he went off the rails, but I can't judge him ever for this, as it's a typical grief manifestation. That's all. Right now, he just needs our understanding, tolerance, insight, compassion, and yes, especially our love. Okay? You may see even the most devout Christians turning to clairvoyants and fortune tellers in a desperate search for solace or to find true meaning in their lives. That is, they struggle to accept that it can all end just like that.